We hear all the time about planting millions of trees, but have you ever stopped to think about what happens after they're in the ground? Today, we're going to dig into something really cool called Topo Grow. It's this idea for a system that doesn't just plant a tree, but gives it a real fighting chance to actually become a forest.
Okay, so before we jump into the solution, we gotta talk about the problem. And believe me, when it comes to our forests, the crisis is, well, it's a lot bigger than most of us realize.
Look, let's just cut to the chase. Our forests are in trouble. We pour so much energy into planting new trees, but the hard truth is, getting a young forest to actually take root and thrive, it's incredibly tough, especially after something devastating like a wildfire. Get this. Some studies show that after a big wildfire, the survival rate for new saplings can be less than 20%. I mean, think about that. For every 5 trees we plant, 4 just might not make it. They're just so vulnerable to drought, bad soil, and yup, another fire. So that's a big question, right? How do you give these tiny trees a real shot?
And that, right there, is where this idea, Topo Grow, comes in. It's a really ambitious, totally innovative answer to this exact problem.
So what is it exactly? Well, the people behind it call it a plug-and-play ecosystem kit. Honestly, the best way I can describe it is like a first aid kit for a forest. It's not just about sticking a tree in the dirt. It's about giving that little tree all the tools it needs to build a tough, resilient home for itself.
Okay, so the goals here are super clear and pretty powerful. Number 1, shield the little saplings from fire and drought right away. Number 2, kickstart all that essential life happening underground. The fungal networks that are basically the forest's secret weapon. And number 3, do all that while locking away carbon for more than 30 years. And this part is huge. It's all made from totally biodegradable stuff, no microplastics left behind. Period.
So let's open up this ecosystem in a box. What's actually inside? It's basically a toolkit with 3 main parts, and each one has a super specific job to do.
All right, first up, we've got the dust antenna sleeve. Think of it like a personal bodyguard for the sapling. It's this smart little collar that just snaps around the base of the tree. It slowly drips out nutrients, which is great, but its real superpower comes out during a fire. It's designed to actually char and swell up, creating this protective, insulating layer to save the delicate bark underneath. So cool. Next in the kit is the mag pollen blanket. And yeah, you can totally think of it like a fire-smothering quilt for the ground. You just lay this lightweight mesh out around the tree, and its whole job is to stop those low-burning surface fires dead in their tracks. It can cool the area by over 200 degrees Celsius. And as a bonus, it helps scrub all that nasty dust and ash from the air. And last but not least, we have the spore dust pearl. And okay, this is where it gets really futuristic. It's basically a tiny biobomb, just packed with these crucial fungal spores. It just sits there dormant until the first good rain. Then, bam, it activates, releasing everything needed to kickstart that hidden underground ecosystem. That mycelial network that's like the forest's internet, sharing nutrients and water. It is absolutely essential for the forest to survive long term. So, let's recap real quick. You've got this 3-part system. The sleeve is the personal bodyguard for the tree. The blanket is the fire protection for the ground. And the pearl is the life starter for everything happening underneath. Each piece has a totally different but totally vital job. Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But an idea this big, how do you actually make it happen? Well, the team behind Topo Grow has a really, really smart plan. And the genius of it is this super practical 2-track approach. Basically, one track is all about the stuff they can prove and use right now. And at the exact same time, a second track is focused on developing the more futuristic, long-term ideas in the lab. It's just a brilliant way to get things moving immediately instead of waiting for everything to be 100% perfect. So here's how that 2-track plan breaks down. Track A is what they called the MVP, the minimum viable product. This is just the sleeve and the blanket, the stuff that gives immediate fire protection. And it's ready for testing in the real world right now. Then you got track B. That's the future. It's got the complex pearl and this wild idea of hive sensing, which is basically a network that could monitor the forest's health. That stuff's still in the lab, in R&D. Okay, so you've got this fireproof sleeve and blanket. How in the world do you actually test if it works? Well, the plan is actually pretty straightforward, but really rigorous. Step 1, you put the sleeve and blanket on some saplings in a test plot. Step 2, you run a controlled, supervised fire right through it, just like a real wildfire. Then you measure everything. How hot did the bark get? How deep is that protective char layer? And the big one, you check 30 minutes later to see if anything reignited. And here's the key thing. They're not just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. They have super specific, measurable goals for what success looks like. For the test to be a success, the bark can't get hotter than 120 degrees Celsius. That's the kill zone for the living tissue. The char layer on the sleeve has to be at least 5 millimeters thick. And, maybe most important, 0 out of 10 trees can reignite after the fire. No exceptions.
All right, let's say these tests are a huge success. So what? What does that actually mean? Let's zoom out a bit and look at the big picture here, because the potential impact is massive. Look, if this thing can be proven and scaled up, the payoff is just enormous. For starters, you'd get forests that are way more resilient, that can actually survive the kinds of insane wildfires that have become the new normal. On top of that, it would be a huge boost for locking away carbon, not just in the trees, but in the biochar that the system itself creates. And honestly, it's pioneering a whole new way of thinking about ecological tech, one that works with nature, not against it, and that doesn't leave any junk behind. I think this quote from the creators really nails it. Listen to the words they use: shield, restore, and lock. See? It's not just about doing one thing. It's a whole system. It's designed to solve a bunch of problems all at once and build a real functioning ecosystem right from the very beginning. And all of this kind of leaves us with one big, fascinating question to chew on, right? As we face these huge environmental challenges, are these kinds of living technologies the answer? I'm talking about systems like Topo Grow that don't just protect nature, but actively help it rebuild itself from the ground up. Is that the future of conservation? It's definitely something to think about.